We're live?
Menno. In this world, as we know, there are a lot of moving parts. So, how's your week been? What kind of moving parts have you been seeing this week?
Yeah, my week has been very much about the World Cup.
Hmm.
We'll see if that's still the case next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my LinkedIn felt very moving in the sense that, of course, it was the week of Cannes, and unfortunately, you and I couldn't join this time because just too much work to do. So, like a lot of friends, old colleagues, clients, etc. We all saw them in Cannes. And actually, it didn't feel like a lot has moved in the year that we didn't participate.
Well,
Still, AI feels like the topic. Nothing new. Creator economy booming, still a big point of discussion. And then it feels like where everyone wanted to be last year is the sport beach. That seems
yeah.
to be the hangout. Everyone wants to go in with a lot of big stars, etc. Mainly big athletes, sports stars, we could almost say. But otherwise, yeah, nothing came out of that felt new to me. So yeah,
Another year.
maybe because we were an outsider this year, it felt like the same old shit. And what are people worried about, or what are people talking about, etc. But nothing new to me.
Look, people are going to find any excuse to go to Ken and talk on stage about very obvious topics like AI and keep it super high level because they want to go to sick parties. But Ken is still fun. I mean, none of the convo there is amazingly forward thinking. I mean, there's some amazing people there, right? But I feel like the panels are just lowest common denominator. Someone's at that panel and they're about to go to 50 other panels in that same day. They have 10 minutes to say something, even less. It's really just like super high level, but it's fun. I think it's more about the sort of intense convos you can have people at Cannes, which next year, I'm just saying this, mark my words, next year we're going to come back with a vengeance to Cannes and we're going to punch Cannes in the face, punch it in the mouth, and people will be talking about Powerhouse next year at Cannes. I can guarantee you that. Not just that, but
Exactly. That's
many,
what I
many
want to
other.
hear, Matt. That's
Of course. And we'll be creating videos like this, Menno. Like I need to see your Cannes recap. I think let's make it mandatory that everybody who comes with us to Cannes has to. So I need to know what's in your suitcase, Menno. I need to know what outfits you're wearing, and then on a daily basis, we need to do recaps and things like that. So Cannes is it's a great place, and I think same thing I said to you about the whole World Cup thing. It's less about the panels, the high level content. It's more about like I find these like recaps more interesting, like the
absolutely.
UGC, right? The UGC, if that's I guess it's UGC, where I don't know who this guy is, but I'm more interested to see him like kind of walk around and give his feedback on these things rather than whatever Martin Sorrell is talking about again at a super high level at the Meta Beach. And it's interesting because I think this feels more authentic to me, right? This feels more real. Like whatever this guy talks about, like walking into LinkedIn events, the YouTube events, whatever, that's more insightful. And I think it's also more real and makes me like trust this person. I just assume like if you're the CMO of P&G or you're the CEO of Publicis giving a talk, what you're saying is just intrinsically corporate, you know? Well, this person might have some hot takes, you know? Scott Galloway, I guess that's interesting. He's like a mixture. He's definitely corporate, but he's also one half hot take. And I think the reason why he's become so famous is because of his hot takes. Like, do you remember I think it was, I didn't know, I had never heard the name Scott Galloway in my entire life until I think it was 2017. One of our colleagues, when you and I were working together at Facebook, I remember that DLD conference, Four Horsemen talk that Scott Galloway gave went super viral. So everybody in our team was sharing it with each other. And that became like the hot topic in all the QBRs and big CMO meetings we had. Like, do you see the Scott Galloway talk? Now, in hindsight, that classic Toni Morrison quote, people won't remember what you said or what you did, they'll remember how you made them feel. I can't quote a single thing from that Four Horsemen talk, but I just remember it being like, wow, super compelling, right? And that's because it was a hot take. It wasn't that like it was super, super insightful, but I think, you have this room in the creator economy to come across and be more real because someone like this, he might have more insight than just hearing whatever prepared multi-revision talk that the Unilever CMO is going to say on Sports Beach.
Yeah, so like it is a kind of like we've been going for I don't know 12, 15
Like
years.
decades.
And
Yeah.
there's this, everyone always talks about like the tech bubble, etc. But there is this bubble called Le Ballet,
Yeah.
which you have there. I don't think anyone knows what's happening inside. I only know when I see young creators or creative walking down the street with a line they've won.
Yeah.
But there's been a massive disconnect going on for a long time. And I think what you're saying is like, what are these creators? What are these young marketers? What are their takes? What's Scott Galloway's take? He's not young anymore, but you definitely listen to what he has to say. By the way, you need to see he always puts his face half on the camera.
Oh, that's his thing?
Whenever he does it.
Really?
At least I've been doing that. And I think that's way more interesting. And for ourselves, like what we always found, we had strong top to tops, big meetings, a lot of preparations, but the best business was done informally with a rosé in the evening or after the meetings, etc. When you have these one-on-ones or smaller talks, which leads to better meetings afterwards, or you decide to do something, etc. So I think the value of people coming together, meeting new people, connecting there, I think that's the most of the value. I think people don't really care what's happening on stage and who wins the prizes. For instance, do you know who was the advertiser of the year this year?
I have no idea. Any Can award, dude. And the thing is, I mean, this reminds me of that World Cup combo we had where you're like, Anthony, do you know any of the sponsors? And I'm like, I have no idea. Samsung, whatever. The thing is, I posted on LinkedIn like that same topic about how the most compelling content from the World Cup is like iShowSpeed, etc. And Menno, I don't know if you saw it, but I got a couple of like negative people saying like, oh, they're ruining the sport. You know, people like iShowSpeed. And I think it's a very out of touch take. I respect that they can have that take, but dude, like this is just the evolution of media, whether you like it or not. And the thing with this, it's like the same people that have maybe dreamt of winning Cannes Lions for decades in their career. I mean, even I feel like it's like this Emperor has no clothes thing, where like even at Meta, at Facebook back in the day, I remember we used to say like, you know, obviously it's great, like if our client or agency won a Cannes Lion, but I remember, and I'm not going to air any dirty laundry mentioning specific names, but I remember people in the room during like our team meetings being like, yeah, but we know it's probably a negative correlation between the most effective business results and the Cannes Lion award winning prizes. So maybe we shouldn't celebrate that. Do you remember? Like, I think so, I have a person in my head who said that in a team meeting. And as a young person there, I'm like, oh, really? But now that I think about it, yes, that's true. These are all just like games of politics and corporate. But at the same time, would I love to win a Cannes Lion? Yeah, sure, of course, I'd love to. But I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that it's like game changing for my business to win a Cannes Lion. The same way, you know, a lot of, let's say, Oscars or Golden Globes are sometimes given to just, you know, films that aren't necessarily always the most successful, but maybe the most artsy. Or on the flip side, there's like a political reason behind it. So Cannes, I have a lot of respect for, but we know that it's not really like it's a lot of much ado about nothing, I think.
Well, it serves its purpose, but again, it's great to meet all marketers and advertisers and media companies, tech companies all around the world. But yeah, like a lot what happens in these official meetings, etc., and these summits and what happens in the palette, it feels like a bubble. And but I agree with you. Like it's these kind of videos that come out that I think get the attention, get the traction, and where you get a feel of what it is. Listen, it remains a very interesting business model, of course. Getting everyone to Cannes, making a lot of money out of everyone there. I stay there forever. It is be there. Let's not complain. Like if you're there, it's fun.
And I remember at Facebook, like you and I don't think you and I ever did a Cannes meeting together, but we both had meetings in Cannes where like we'd have to go through like 50 revisions, 50 prep meetings because there'd be super senior people. It was the most intense like week of the year. But then I also remember something you told me about how like sometimes the most out of the maybe 100 times you've been to Cannes, right? Give or take 100, 150 in your career. Like you probably had the most impactful meeting when it was the most casual, right? Like over a drink with the CMO or like a very just casual conversation that wasn't highly prepared with like the 100 slides you've been told and revised for the last months.
Yeah, like I'm not there to do a business review. I'm
Yeah.
there to take everyone out of their comfort zone, or actually in their comfort zone with a beer,
Yeah.
or just to have like the conversations you normally don't have when you do QBRs or top to tops, etc. I think it's really about having the opportunity to look at new things and to
Yeah.
really be forward looking on like what can I really 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 do to change my business, or to make the steps that I want to take, but just celebrating everything that was great the last year, etc., giving awards away for things that some people might not have even seen. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, I
luck with
well, I mean, we're still going next year. We're still going to punch it in the face. We're still going to have a great time. And
of course, because there's value there, because like you love to meet new people, and in
yeah,
our case, just
maybe
new
we
clients.
pull up. I don't want anyone to steal this idea, but maybe we pull up like a desk of like hot takes, a moving parts hot takes desk on the Crescent, and we ask people to walk by and we ask them those questions like, name an ad you actually saw that's won a Cannes Lion, or can you name the winners? Versus people that are just there to party. Now, okay, this content I like. So this person, and I'm going to try to look at her profile to understand who she is, because I'm just literally doing this on the fly right now. I have no idea. Have you ever heard of Coco Moko? Is she like a marketing creator or something? I'm trying. It's not
No,
loading at the moment, of
it's an
course.
amazing name, but I haven't heard of
So I don't recognize her. Okay, look, it's TikTok's asking me to authenticate again. So she here is making a video. Okay, so it looks like she's like wow. Now I feel like I should know this person. She has 1 million+ followers, and she is looks like an interviewer. Look, I'm seeing here she's pinned interviewing Charlie XCX. I guess like look, she's been covering Cannes. I guess she has a podcast. But what's interesting is like, okay, she is doing things like interviewing celebrities, doing recaps of Cannes, etc. I'm guessing she got paid by some brand, whether it was Spotify or another brand, to go to Cannes. And the thing is, it's like, in a way, she is objective, presumably, because she's not like affiliated deeply with a company. But also at the same time, if Spotify or someone has paid her, oh look, 16th. I think that's a talent management company that Whaler runs. So I guess she's maybe part of them. But what's interesting is like, okay, she is, let's say, doing coverage of the Spotify beach. She's essentially acting as one part media person, like media third party press, and one part Spotify employee if they're paying her, right? Now, I think that brings me to something I saw this last week that's really interesting, and that is the concept of employee generated content, EGC. Because, as we know, and let me pull up this exact stat, 61% of Gen Z frequently learn about new products or services from employee generated content. That's from Sprout Social. Also, 61% of consumers believe brands should compensate employees who promote the brand on social media. Now, in the last few weeks, someone's gotten really famous, at least in the UK, for doing this. This lovely, lovely aunt character, Catherine Turner. She's the director of product development at Marks and Spencer, M&S, particularly their food division. And just for reference here, M&S is like a company that's been in the UK. I think it was founded in the 1800s. They're a retailer partially. They sell clothes, but they're also very famous for their food. They have a lot of like kind of grocery supermarkets around the UK. And you look here, Catherine, she starts every video. Well, first off, the fact that she's on TikTok is awesome. She starts every video saying, "Hey, I'm Catherine." And then she does things like here, she's going to behind the scenes saying, "Here's the guy who runs our cookie division. Let's take a look at the cookies and then try some." It's very endearing. This is her talking through, oh wait, this is not her. That she also, they talk through different stores. Like she walks around different stores saying like, "Here's this new thing that we have in the store. Hi, I'm Catherine," the same starting point. "I'm walking in, here's like a new menu for the summer." So let's see this here. There's a new sandwich that she's bringing out. And people are commenting. So this is, have you heard, like, I feel like this is viral. Do you remember when like that sort of Japanese inspired like fruit cream sandwich that's famous in like 7-Eleven started going viral in the UK? So I think it was M&S that specifically jumped on this trend. And I'm guessing here that she's talking about It's coming back because it's been very trendy. They want to bring it back. They know it's going to work. And then there's new iterations on it. Look, chocolate, strawberry, and pistachio cream sandwich. So this is she's not like a super polished actress who's, you know, like a really, really famous person, but she's also not like a rando. She's pretty charismatic if you listen to her. She knows how to act on camera, right? She comes across like a very friendly aunt. And there's a lot of positive feedback here. Like, look, someone here says, Catherine, we're in need of a new PM. Are you available? 10,000 likes. Go spend that £5 in M&S. The 65 will be the best 110 you've ever spent. It's generally positive things. Respectfully, I'm trying to lose weight for my wedding. Can we stop adding delicious things? It's generally, look, this is a guy, Owen, that she talks to in this video, and she's like, Owen from Dips needs a knighthood ASAP. It's Owen's world, and we're just dipping in it. So this is like super positive. Like everybody here has been very positive here because I think it's this perfect mixture. She's very talented. She's very charismatic. It's a brand that people like, but you know, it's something that I think most brands could be doing. Do you think other brands could do this? Like, is M&S just doing a really good job here? Could others replicate it?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a question of doing it. I think like, especially the young generation is expecting this more or less. Like it's not new. Like we come from the tech world. Like if you look like Facebook early days with Zuckerberg, if you look at like Apple with Steve Jobs, look at X, still Elon Musk. So like, it's not new in the sense that companies have founders or employees speaking on their behalf. What I think is new in this case is like it's an existing company. I have no clue who sits behind M&S, etc. But seeing this lovely lady representing the company in a relatable, accessible, credible, trustworthy way, I think really opens up consumers. And I think consumers are expecting, like, especially now when so many young people don't actually trust brands, have like second thoughts about big companies, etc. Like this feels like very relatable. And we're seeing a lot of creators, you know, launch their own brand and together with their community, etc. That's doable because of like all these new channels and technology that you have in that. But like, it's super important for people to understand who sits behind the brand. Are we able to talk to them? Are they relatable? Yes or no? So to answer your question, do you think it's doable? Well, I think it's needed. And I think M&S proves that it's doable. What I find it more difficult, like this employee generated content, like that feels like it's an H&R tool, you know, to bring in new talent or to make our current employees feel proud about the company. And this is, it feels more than employee content. You know what I mean? Like, because this is about like truly representing the company. And I don't know the better term for it, but I think employee generated content doesn't feel that it's actually representing what we're seeing here.
Yeah. Well, to me, this is like creator content, right? So like you think about it, I think I wrote about this on LinkedIn where what's your creator strategy? Creator strategy could mean paying a bunch of really big names to do one-off ads. It can mean a long-term relationship with a bunch of people. It can mean a long tail of nano and micro influencers. It can mean thousands of affiliates that don't get paid up front, but get paid a piece of like the affiliate fee. It could mean communities. It can mean hosting pop-ups and meetups with like moms or runners or things like that. And then shooting content around that. It could mean getting your employees to do this kind of thing. It's to me, this is just another form of creator content, which is why I think the creator world and the idea of a creator strategy, it bleeds into so many things. Like to me, it's going to be like how social media, like if you had a social strategy in isolation 12 years ago, that kind of made sense. Now, like social is across everything. You could be shooting the biggest things in the world. You could be spending money on massive TVCs or billboards, but it's all going to live on social in some kind of way. So to me, this is like the creator thing. It's like,
yeah, and it's evolved. Like, do you have Carglass in the UK?
Carglass? Like
it's almost annoying company in Holland with they repair glass of cars.
Okay.
And they always do their commercials with like somebody that works in the car glass
Okay. Okay.
shop, and they talk about like we can help you, etc. So like it's not new, this employees or representing a company in a commercial, but this is next level.
Yeah.
Like not everyone can do what she's doing. I don't think all companies would feel the trust to do it like this, because you got to make a lot of content. You can't feel too much produced. You got to respect the rules of TikTok in this case, but also like you're going to get comments, so you're going to have to respond to them, etc. But this feels natural. This feels real. It respects, or it plays the game as it should be played on a platform like this. And it works. Like it's getting the reach, it's getting the engagement, etc. And I'm pretty sure that this will unlock, at the end of the day, new clients or clients spending more at M&S.
Dude, some of these comments are so hilarious. Like, Catherine, if you keep posting these videos, I am in fact going to go bankrupt.
Well, there you have it. Like literally, like, name me a brand that can get this. Like in this space, we're talking a food retailer. This is not like the launch of the new and sexiest Nikes coming out.
Yeah, this isn't a streetwear brand. This series is genius marketing. I spent 50 pounds on your new ice cream range yesterday as soon as I saw it on TikTok. In this economy, let's go easy on the insane creativity, guys. Cheers. Okay, now let's talk about being like a fast follower, though. Like, let's say you and I were the CMOs of Waitrose or Sainsbury's or Tesco. Would we just be saying, okay, shit, how do we do this? Do we jump on that trend too? You know, and what if like they take, like, we're sitting in the boardroom and we look to the head of product and it's fucking Steve. Steve is like so uncharismatic, so bad on camera. He's like picking his nose while we're having the convo, and we're like, fuck. I mean, we can't go with Steve, right? Or like, what do you do? Or like, Catherine clearly is exceptional, at least in her creator talent ability, but her counterparts at other brands might not be. So then what do we do? Do we say, Steve, we got to train you. We got to invest money to train you. Do we find someone else? Do we find other people in the company to do it? Like, what if a brand needs to find that employee advocacy? What do they do about it?
Yeah, so the question here might be like, did she raise her hand saying, I've got a great idea, let's do this? Was there an agency or an internal team that said, like, we really need to go in this area? We don't know. But it feels like a perfect match, and it feels like this could go on forever. So it starts with like, who do you have? But I think also you need to be a bit creative. You can't copy paste this anymore, because everyone will feel like you're just copy pasting what M&S is doing.
Yeah,
the audiences are sensitive to that. So I think it needs to start with like, who are you as a brand? What are the values that you like to communicate, and what kind of creative concepting do you want to do on that? And I think there are opportunities to do that in certain areas. You could even like make make it employee branding, in the sense that you go like, we're looking for our head of employee generated content, and you find somebody to work, and like there are several ways in. But one thing I definitely wouldn't do, if you don't have the internal talent to do this, forget it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Well, this is what makes content creation so much more of a valuable tool in the job market, right? Like, you think about all the sort of economic doom and gloom about job prospects, etc. Imagine if Catherine's market value just went up massively. She might get hired by, like, I don't know, other brands to do this kind of stuff too, if she wants to. I mean, it sounds like she's an M&S lifer, which is pretty crazy, because she's like been around at the company since like the 90s, I think. I think that's part of her story, part that makes it endearing. But if you're a brand searching for these people, maybe if brand X is trying to figure out who their next CMO should be, it's like, okay, someone who has an audience who can speak publicly really well versus someone that can't. The first person's more attractive, right? It's just by nature the world that we live in. This is the attention economy. I saw this other interesting video where this guy, I think he's some other, maybe perhaps like marketing commentator, talking about why other brands should be replicating this in their own version. But he talks about like 5 reasons why this is really important. I think it was interesting. One, he was talking about how talent. So shout out to this guy, Ash Jones GI, who is, actually, I'm looking at him right now. It says here, 10 years building personal brands, including Stephen Bartlett and Gary Neville. But he talks about, okay, Catherine Turner suddenly has now helped recruit for M&S because now it's more attractive as a brand, which is true. Particularly younger folks probably like, wow, I'm more likely to, if I'm deciding whether to work at Waitrose or M&S, maybe now M&S is more attractive to me. Internal advocacy. He talks about how it makes other employees feel comfortable. Maybe now if I'm a retail worker at an M&S store, I'd be like, well, Catherine's doing it, maybe we should do it. So it becomes like creative volume unintentionally. Share a voice here. So I don't know if he's measured this, but I would assume now that M&S probably has more share of voice than their competitors. Consumer insight, we saw while some of the comments were funny, like, oh, I love you, Catherine, or I love the products, there was also some interesting feedback saying, hey, can you bring that salad back, or could you get this product back? And reputational resilience, I think that's interesting. One of the reasons why these sort of like faces of brands have been important is because if you are, if there's a scandal and you're a trustworthy face, that helps versus a soulless corporation. This is like classic crisis comms and PR, where if you have a very lovable person who's the face of a brand, like imagine if M&S did have some scandal, like instead of the CEO maybe giving a press talk, bring Catherine, and she could probably do a better job than like a typical like sort of PR or comms person.
Yeah, but it can also go the other way around. Like, what if your spokesperson or your employee-generated content leader, who's on video, gets involved in scandals? Like, it can go both ways. But I do agree. Like, with something like this, if you have anything negative, like you probably stand a better chance by correcting that. If you have the likability and the trust, that she has built. But so the parallels with the creator economy is like one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like if you look at this, like it's all about like the people behind the company. It's about community. It's about being relatable. It's about being trustful, etc., accessible, and that's what I'm seeing here. And I think like if we were talking about like how difficult it is for these big corporates to compete against the creator economy or compete or join it, this feels like a very simple way, to participate in this, because there at the end of the day, how many stories can you tell? It's unlimited. Like with M&S, how much is there to tell? The history, like they've got so many products, so many people working there. They can innovate, etc. There's so many stories to talk about, and you always try to look external. Like, what can we do? We can't talk about like our product. Well, look at this. Like, you can talk about your product forever.
Well, one of the best examples of this recently was Alison Ellsworth from Poppy. Like she became, since I think they started off as I think the very first time Poppy became popular is I think it was on Shark Tank years ago in like 2018 maybe. But Allison herself has become like this influencer. And the thing is, influencer doesn't need to mean like millions and millions of followers, right? Like she has 70,000, I think, what was that? Just right now. Yeah, 40,000 on TikTok. And she talks about stuff like, hey, she's become like now like a thought leader when it comes to brand building. But even before Poppy got acquired, she'd become this person that was interviewed. Like if you look at her Instagram, she actually has like 100,000 followers, talks about being like an Austin cool mom. And here, if you just scroll through, she's now like a very prominent face of the brand, in ways that not all brands can compete with. And it's interesting because like Poppy is like arguably a creator-led brand, but she wasn't like a creator from day one. She evolved into that role as it made sense for her to. And now like you see here, she's talking about like sharing stuff about her family. She's very open. She's talking about interviewed all these different times about the Poppy story. I was pregnant when I started it. And ideally everyone should embrace this, but this is, to your point, what makes a creator-led brand or a startup brand have an advantage, because again, like if you talk about big brands like, I don't know, Gillette or Dove, I have no idea who the founder or CEO of Dove is. Probably they're passed away and from like hundreds of years ago, whatever. But if you start a brand now, then you have the ability to, and you should lean into the fact that, there are people behind it, and these people should be prominent faces of the brand. Ideally, every brand should have someone as this prominent face.
Yeah, I think like it is how it works now.
Yeah.
And people are expecting like, who sits behind this brand? Can I relate to it? And there's just like a lack of trust with big corporates only doing the advertising, and you can email them, and these days, you can go and chat with the bots. But like, who is it? Who am I talking to? It's maybe now even I'm just thinking of it like with chatbots and AI and everything. Maybe it's even more important than ever.
Yeah,
to show a face behind it.
Dude, that's
and not just like.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Literally, like this is more important time than ever to be creating content with yourself at the face of it. So I appreciate, man.
And also in this, coming back to the Cannes thing, like everyone like AI, like etc. Like this is your counter tactic against anything that is fake or is AI, etc. Like this is real, and if you look on TikTok and Instagram as well, and especially on YouTube, people want to see real people. They want to connect with real people. So at the end of the day, that will never go away.
Well, I see here too, like, Sarah Blakely from Spanx. Also, I think maybe a slight generation before, like I think Spanx got pretty famous maybe 10, 15 years ago. Might have those timing wrong, but this is her. She's a billionaire founder of Spanx. And she has stuff here like, This is something that AI can't create, right? These are her stories. This is her life. She unhinged things that she did starting Spanx. This is like kind of, you won't get a creative agency to think of this for you. You won't get a marketer with 30 years in the industry to build this. This is just her personal story. Like in a world where AI can create things at volume, your personal story is the only thing that's truly personal to you. Like if you had your own version of this, Menno, like things that I like, pictures of you from like the 70s, the 60s, I mean the 90s or like the 2000s, right? Like you could be putting this together in a way that's just no one else can. So to me, this is like, it's great. Now, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's this new thing that Starbucks is doing called a TikTok, I think, custom creator network, where Starbucks, because the thing is, okay, let's take Howard Schultz, who's the founder and CEO of Starbucks. He's a pretty public figure, but I think he's kind of getting old, and you can't just be relying on him. And obviously, Starbucks needs to scale this, right? So I've seen a lot of brands, like particularly retail brands, do things like, actually Waitrose is another good one, Curry's in the UK, where they have a lot of employees just do crazy unhinged stuff on TikTok. But Starbucks is now, as I understand it, starting to pay employees, baristas around the world, to create content for them. So it's starting off, this is very recent, I think this was announced in Cannes, but this is a way for, if you're a brand listening to this and it's like, okay, well, I am working at Kit Kat, I am working at Gillette, and sure, I can't get the founder, like CEO, to talk about it. How do I scale it if I'm Coca-Cola or I'm Pepsi, whatever? Well, do you think something like this could work for some of these other brands that don't have a clear founder-led story and are not like a hip young startup?
Well, we already said it. Like M&S is doing it. And Starbucks can do it. Like at the end of the day, they're already doing it. When you go into a Starbucks, like you remember somebody that gives you great service, that did the nice talk, wrote your name incorrectly on the on your cup. So like they're doing it anyway. The difference is now you can make content and that scales. And now you can show the great work that you're doing and the love that you have for the company to a larger audience. So I think it's doable, but it's a question of like, can you set up the right program to facilitate it? And also do it in such a way that you feel comfortable as management of this company that it won't go wrong, because there's still a risk that it could go wrong.
Sure, there's always a risk. I mean, look at this.
There's always a risk. There's always a risk.
Like,
so how do you set up? How do you organize this in such a way that you get the best out of it? You know, you find the best employees who want to do this, who feel comfortable with doing it, and enable them to do it, but also get advantage out of that.
Well, this person here seems to have her own her own TikTok account. She's a Starbucks barista, and she just makes stuff. And presumably she's just doing this just for fun and not getting compensated by Starbucks, but now she might be. And the risk here too is like, okay, let's say she was doing this, big Starbucks fan, but then as the years went by, let's say you and I worked at a rival coffee shop. Maybe we like reach out to her and be like, hey, Mohina, do you want to come work for Dunkin' Donuts? You know, or do you want to come work for Blank Street Coffee? So the reality, this is like the talent, right? She in this case is the talent that you have to work with, but it's just a different type of talent. It's not a big name.
Yeah, and that's very simple. Like, it's part of the economics. Like, if she's that valuable to a company like Starbucks, they will have to make sure that they keep her on board. Yeah. And then again, I don't believe in this day and age that you can easily just go to a competitor and say, and now I love this brand. Yeah. So like, that's true. If the community will pick it up. So like, there's also something like how credible are you to keep on moving? But there's no difference than like if you're a sports brand and you sponsor an athlete, that can change over time. Same with teams, etc. So like, yeah, that will happen. The thing is like, how credible is it if you constantly switch in this case, which I don't think will happen. But companies need to think about like, if I really get my talent, I might need to look at like employer satisfaction in a different way. Yeah. Now, by facilitating, maybe you set up a studio that can do more. Maybe you give them the opportunity to develop a new product, or you give them a better financial remuneration. Or you ways of looking at it.
Yeah, or you hire someone to be a full-time creator. Like, I think I might have shown you, I don't know why I got served this on Instagram, but I got served content from this random Ford dealership in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah, you said that.
And, you know, I used to work on Ford as a client back at Facebook, and I have a lot of experience working with dealerships and stuff. But look, first, look at this episodic content, the Power Line, episode 19. Now, there's basically this like kind of tongue-in-cheek thing where these two women are now the faces of this Ford dealership. I don't know if they are just employees that have now become content creators for Ford, or if they have been hired specifically for this. A lot of people, you know, are complimenting it, saying, oh, she's so hot, she's so gorgeous. But they're saying stuff like, okay, if you come into this dealership, we're going to be here. You know, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we live very far away from Albuquerque, but this is getting a lot of views. It's working. And I'm sure that this dealership is seeing more results as a result of this. But what I don't know is, are these two employees that just happen to be like, okay, ladies, can you guys start creating content? Or were they hired separately? I don't think it really matters, right? But if you're thinking from a brand's perspective, okay, do you want to hire someone? Look, I mean, look at this. I feel like they probably are content creators when I think about it. Like the amount of content, the amount of like, right?
They must be.
But I'm sure it works, right? So like, if you think about it, in your marketing budget, like if you're a brand, maybe you got to hire a couple of people, depending on your size, your scale, who can just purely be content creators.
Yeah, well, this is pretty old-fashioned, straightforward. Yeah. But looking at the kind of trucks, it probably will work. Yeah. This is a way in. I'm not sure if it's a sustainable way. But you can continue. But not everyone can do this. Yeah. But it just goes to show it's not so difficult to stand out if you get it right.
Well, and that's the thing. Right? This isn't like, it doesn't require creative genius, I guess, is partially my point too. And the thing is like, you know, this is very much direct response, right? Like the thing with tier 3 automotive brands tier 3 meaning like in the US that refers to the dealerships. You're really just competing. Like you don't build the Ford sort of, oh, look at this. It's changed so much from what they did earlier. Look at this crazy stuff they're doing in the past. But you don't build the Ford, right? Yeah, you don't build the Ford brand. You're just trying to drive people to your location. It's like a store. You're trying to drive people towards. You're not implementing ideas around what a Chevrolet stands for or a Ford stands for. That's done by the national organization. But I think it was also interesting.
But still, like if this dealership becomes bigger, etc., like they can do contests, be our new hostess or sellers, whatever they're called. So there are ways to evolve if you go into this direction. But it is probably doesn't cost that much.
Yeah,
probably will get organic reach, etc. So if you're smart, you find your way in and do it in such a way that you attract community.
I think one of the interesting things that I was mentioning to you before was how a team structures their different marketing roles. And I heard a podcast last week with Kendall Tucker, and she is creative experimentation lead for Ramp. And it says here, if you look at her, I heard her on a podcast for Colin, Samir, and Ken, leads marketing experiments and other non-traditional campaigns at Ramp. So if you think about what that means, it's like, so she was famously behind ideas like you see Kevin from The Office and his stunt, right, in New York. I just think like maybe if you have someone whose role is to kind of take swings, like be like a skunk works from marketing, that's something that can work really well. And Ramp's a very forward-thinking company. Ramp is a quote unquote, like, I don't know if you call them a startup. They're worth like tens of billions right now, I think. But generally speaking, Ramp is like less than 10 years old. I think it's the fastest growing fintech of all time. But they don't take themselves too seriously, right? Like they're doing this, it's pretty fun. And it's a B2B brand, dude. Like Ramp is not selling coffee to consumers. Ramp is like enterprise software. But this stuff still like hits, right? This stuff works. So if you think about it even like structurally, I think, it's cool to think about these like one-off cool ideas and campaigns, whatever, but Ramp has literally built someone's role to be focused purely on creative experimentation,
And it is experimenting.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if like you can't do consumer research on this.
Yeah.
You just have to go in and try it. And you can blow it up, make it bigger and bigger if it works. Or find the next new thing that you want to do. But this stands out. Of course, it's linked to The Office, etc., which is a great link to do. We've seen more of these. Was it what was that series on Apple as well that did it at the
Severance
Central Station in Severance? Yeah. So we've seen it before, but I find they made a great angle on it, and it's super relevant. And it stands out, and you have content, etc., around it. But is she the spokesperson? Like, is she the employee generated content lead for this company, or?
This isn't so insane. So I'm just watching right now. I don't think, but this is the thing. It's like her role is creative experimentation, and that doesn't mean like EGC. I don't think it's like a separate thing. I guess to me, this is
part of the
right. This is part of me. I guess the acknowledgement that like I'm not saying this is easy, and there's so many different like Easter eggs in this video, but this is marketing, but it's also EGC, it's also influencer and creator, it's also talent in a way, it's also events, it's also experiential. And I guess if you're a brand trying to do these things and you're trying to figure out, the question we get all the time talking to brands like, oh, where does this budget come from? Is this brand social, or is this more comms? What Ramp's done here is given the sort of creative freedom to this woman, Kendall Tucker, to be creative experimentation lead. So she probably has her own budget. It doesn't need to tap into the social budget, maybe. It doesn't need to tap into the affiliate budget, whatever. And I think this is what a smart brand could be doing. Doing like this is probably a mixture of budgets that she has that sits across all these different typical buckets that might be in a traditional marketing organization. So I'm even thinking to the future, like if you're a marketing organization that wants to be more modern in how you structure yourselves, maybe you need someone that is a creative experimentation. Because, and we've had this situation in the last few months, Menno, where I talked to someone about some of these ideas we have, and they're like, oh, this is super cool. I technically run influencer, but what you're talking about, it's also brand, social, but also you're talking about like maybe you need to get the partnerships team involved. You get like event, So I think brands themselves need to figure out how do they structure themselves to take on ideas like this, because otherwise they won't come up with ideas like this if it's too siloed.
Absolutely. So like, I think it's a good point that you're making. Like you can't do it in silo.
Yeah.
Definitely needs to be part of your total marketing plan. But at the end of the day, I keep on saying that, shouldn't do that. what is important here is that you want to experiment.
Yeah.
You really take a lot of time trying to get this content right. That's why you experiment. But in this case, what's so great about this one is it has endorsement in it. He's a famous actor.
Mm-hmm.
The CFO plays a role. She plays a role, etc. You have consumers in there. It's everything's mixed up.
Exactly.
Like, what is it? Is it an ad, or is it a promotion? Is it an event? It's everything all at once. But what it results into is a lot of content that goes, and it's done well, travels. And you can have multiple edits come out of it. So like, it's done really well. There you have it. Like they probably use them in a commercial as well, I'm assuming, or ads.
This is a Super Bowl commercial. This is so like as we're doing this is all super organic on the fly. I realize Ramp is pretty awesome. Like I'm looking at their YouTube right now, and then they also have like, you know, the classic product explainers, which are not sexy or super creative, but you know, it's a job to be done, right? So they do that. Then I see they have like specific stuff that is like the Ramptables. I'm looking at this. They're talking about, I guess these are employees themselves, probably. I haven't looked through it yet, but talking about maybe customers. That's definitely, I think that's the CEO right there. You know, they have new to Ramp. They start talking about different use cases from different brands. Accounting agent, how we're thinking about, this is a podcast performance. Sorry, podcast interview. So this is the CEO of Ramp, but this is from the Cheeky Pint podcast. So, that's from Invest Like the Best. So to me, that's like they're taking clips from different podcasts and events that the executives have been at. Super awesome. And then this is also the same place where the Kevin from The Office was also in here. So, look at this. YouTube Shorts content. Talk about, I don't know, is this an employee? But the point being here is like, this is a really interesting modern marketing organization. And I think a lot of these bigger, older companies can learn from Ramp.
And for a dull product.
Super dull.
Finance.
Super dull.
If finance can do it, like anyone could do it more or less. And you would expect, like, these are all tech nerds, like it's just like a new platform. Everything is done online. But they make it feel very human. Yeah. More human than a lot of other brands that I've seen.
Look, and it's great. They're doing a great job here. So, respect to Ramp. I mean, look, Ramp words. Oh, great. Look at that. That's pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And then very ugly stuff. Look at this. Universal CSV, filter accounts, upload chart of accounts. Beyond sexy stuff too at the same time. Clearly Ramp knows what's up, and there are a lot of moving parts here.
Well, but if you look like a product like this, like, I don't think you need to look at the channel and you can discuss your YouTube like that. Everything needs to be like the kind of thing that we just discussed. Like, there's also this thing of like, if you're searching for tutorial, a lot of people go to YouTube. So it makes sense that that kind of content is there as well. At the end of the day, there you have it. I need to cut out the end of the days.
That's okay.
If you want to reach, if you want to reach, you gotta appear in feed.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think it really matters what's on the total account. What matters is like, you make amazing content that travels, and this looks like great content.
Yeah.
Probably if you put some dollars behind it, etc., you can pump up the reach and start reaching the audiences that you really, really want to reach, or really definitely want to make sure that you reach them.
You got to be unhinged.
It's done perfectly.
Yeah.
And The Office is not even a new show.
No. Well, this is the thing. I was listening to that episode with Kendall talking about this, and she was saying that, like, I'm pretty sure she said that, like, she talked to her agency, one of the agencies she's working with, about Brian Baumgartner, Kevin from The Office. And then people in the agency were like, oh, he's not relevant anymore. Oh, he's a bad choice. You know, so you also sometimes got to go with your gut on this stuff as well. And this is the thing. It's like, I think I told you, like the Bobby chief brand officer, I loved a recent podcast I heard with her because she was saying, like, if you're not being unhinged, no one's going to care or pay attention to you, particularly in this day and age, right? And the second thing is, not everything can be measured exactly to the T on a like sort of dollar by dollar basis. Has Ramp, who as a fintech company is probably more data driven and more numbers driven than like 99% of types of companies, do you think that they're literally correlating the exact ROI of this video to their business? They're B2B as well. So like, you need to also just think about things in a much, I guess marketing requires in 2026 a more fluid way to think about these things. It's not about silos. It's not about being purely data driven. It is sometimes a mixture of different ways to do things, kind of going with vibes sometimes, being unhinged, being entertaining, and just also taking risks in the way you structure your organization.
Yes, and what you got to do here is like, you got to be creative. Think of what your brand really wants to communicate and find new ways of doing it. Because you are competing against thousands of creators out there that are all trying to get that attention in this attention economy. It's got to stand out.
Yeah.
If it doesn't stand out, you've already lost. And this stands out. And but they've taken a risk. But I get a feeling of what this brand is now.
Yep.
Gives me a good. Well, it would definitely stand out.
We need to work with Ramp, clearly. I mean, for our, and this is the thing, like, we are B2B buyers of software, and now I'm looking at Ramp. I'm technically a potential customer of them, and I'm like, you know what? This seems like a fun company. I kind of get what they do. And maybe now I pick Ramp versus working with like Concur, a company that we have experience with from expenses and software. I'd much rather, so it's working.
Yep. And
so positive
and they are challenging, and they're challenging the big financials in this space.
Exactly.
So it just goes to show that no one's safe by by doing what they've been doing over the past. Like, new challenges can come up very easy. And again, like, if you're a young audience, this is all you see.
Yeah.
You don't watch television. You might come outdoors. You might see outdoor, but you're probably on your phone. So how do you get recognized? How do you get seen? You got to play a role in this area.
Oh, dude, also, and this maybe we can end on this, but Ramp's TikTok is solid as well. This is the thing. You look at the different, we've just spent some time on their YouTube. Now let's take a look at their TikTok. So their TikTok, it has like the sort of hero footage too, like the Kevin from The Office stuff. But then they also have more like street interview. Well, I mean, again, look, all stunts. Stunts are doing in New York. This was a few weeks ago. They're doing these stunts in New York. They have the behind the scenes clips on TikTok. The people yearn for community. Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. Look at that. And then
some of it might fail.
Yeah. Dude, this is great. Well, massive respect to Ramp. I think in a world of many moving parts, they're able to piece it together the right way.
Yeah, so you're now going to go to the website and look if we can use Ramp?
I didn't even think about the website. Oh, okay, here I am. I'm on the website now. Look, see, so they basically, within the last 20 minutes, we've gone through basically a sales video of Ramp unintentionally. Now I'm like, okay, let's go work with them.
There you have it.
So
and it's one, it works.
Look at this. This is great. Okay. Now, Menno, that's been great. A lot of moving parts we just discussed here, but another good episode.
I love it. And it's interesting to see how this space is evolving, and for sure going to play a bigger role in your marketing mix.
Oh, yeah.
Up to the next moving parts.
To the next one.
Let's see.
To the next one. I think
next one.
We'll be Ramp customers by then, so let's see.
Ramp customers, will probably be in the semifinals of the World Cup. Go
Yeah.
Holland. Hup, hup, hup.
Good luck. Good luck. I can't guarantee that, but I hope it happens.
No one can. No one can. No one can. But let's see. All right, my friend.
Awesome.
Great talking.
See ya.
See ya.